Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Greco. For the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we're going to talk about cyber and physical security. This is a pre-holiday presentation that was given to my community, and I wanted to share it with you, the audience of Lead with Love, because we're talking about learn, offer, value, educate, and basically that's what we're talking about when we talk about that area. So let's start out with cyber and physical security, and let's start out with the physical security aspect and go from there. Um, Background and presenters, basically it's just me, about 30 years experience in computer and cybersecurity, decades of experience in operational security, physical security, awarded North American Information Systems Leadership Award by ISC Squared, which is the penultimate organization for information system security, certified information system security professional, CISSP, trained Department of Defense in cybersecurity, including risk management, risk framework, all those areas, and performed operational security during the Cold War, which was actually a lot of fun. What is cybersecurity? So we talk about those areas, and it's just basically making your devices safe from tampering. And this is what, it's a defensive type of it's a defensive type of position. So what you're doing is you're making it so the hackers cannot get into your system. That's what you're trying to do, right? So helping you to prevent your devices from being used against you. And that's where people think that, protection of the devices is all about the device protection, but actually it's protecting you, because the hackers will use your devices against you. And that's what they do. It's, because you have it on you, you have your cell phone on you all the time. So it's if your cell phone is vulnerable, you're vulnerable. So that's what happens with that. So it's both the offensive and defensive in nature, only from the standpoint that you're trying to think ahead of the hacker. What kind of vulnerabilities do I have? That's an offensive capability. And then defensive is preventing the hackers from exploiting that vulnerability. So we're going to be defensive only today. Now, just to make sure that you understand, there's white hats, gray hats, black hats, hackers. But I'm telling you right now, this is my opinion, but there are no gray hats. Everyone talks about a gray hat as a person is, they're not really a black hat because they don't do any harm. They do, actually. And they're not white hat because they don't sign any type of ethical agreement. Yeah, there you go. So there are no gray hats. There's only whites and black hats. A gray hat can use all the principal issues that they want, but the bottom line is this, is that they are hacking, and they are not asking permission from anybody to do that. Therefore, they're a black hat. So if anybody tells you they're a gray hat hacker, I'd stay clear of them, because they are not gray hats. They are basically black hats, and they do things out of the principles that they think are correct. So you have to be really careful about that. White hats, they'll sign a contract with you, so you know that they're okay. So why do we need to know all this stuff? Well, the same reason you know about locking your doors, right? A lot of people sit back and they go, well, of course I'll lock my door. Really? Why don't you lock your device? So it's that type of it's just weird that people think, it's kind of like people think when they're in their cars, they're totally invisible. They're not invisible. Everyone can see you. The same thing with your device. And we'll explain that a little bit in future slide. Security is something, it's nice to know, but better to apply. So if you do not take the appropriate measurements to secure something, guess what? Insurance companies they don't have to pay. For instance, if you leave your door unlocked and somebody goes in and steals your blind, then all of a sudden, did you take all reasonable measures to be able to defend your property? If you didn't lock your door, then basically you were, I wouldn't say irresponsible, but you just didn't do all the things reasonably so to be able to do that. And in some cases, because I personally know this, the insurance companies won't pay. They'll sit there and say, look, you didn't take all reasonable measures to protect your property, so why should we pay that? And they'll put the investigation together and do whatever else. So you have to be really, really careful about that. And you have to protect yourself. As we move along, think about physical and cyber as being about the same. One goes into another when you're talking to a device. So there are people that want to take things that belong to you. They're out there. They can do so by literally physically taking them. They can do it through scams. They can do it for all different situations. And being the holiday season, it really comes to the forefront on this. Your job is to make it as hard as possible. It's preferable to move the person on to softer targets. A criminal doesn't want to work that hard. if you make them work that hard, then they're going to move on to another target that's easier to get. So your home is an investment you want to protect. Your car is an investment you want to protect. Your family is the thing you want to protect, right? Because they are both in the home and the car. So the physical security, when you talk about this, when we talk about physical security, entails protecting your physical assets, right? So the first area of discussion will be your home, then we'll talk about the car, then we'll talk about your family. And the topics are going to combine physical and cybersecurity, but it all depends on the content that we talk about. The first thing we want to talk about is what drives criminals. What is it that criminals want, right? So although there's many studies out there, the bottom line is this. Criminals are driven by purpose, easy purpose, simple purpose. The purpose may be to impress others or to gain benefits from others, right? In order to get the results, the important thing is not to get caught. So the means this means you want to get the most results from the least work. Simple is the key word here, and simple is what the criminal is hoping for. In order to be simple, it must be quick, easy, in and out, done. I got my stuff, I'm out. If it's hard, the criminal will look other places. They're not looking for a challenge, folks. This isn't like you see on TV where they go, oh, geez, I'm going to jump this fence, and then I'm going to do this and do that. They're looking for something real simple. The old porch pirates, the package pirates, porch package pirates, whatever they call them. Easy, boom, take a package, go, take a package, go, take a package, go. All of a sudden now there's cameras, there's all kind of identification stuff, makes it harder. So they're going to search and they're going to see if there's a camera. If there's a camera, the chances are they're not going to be porch pirating, right? Because no, I want to be able to get out and I don't want people to identify me. So your job is to make it hard for the criminal. The first place you want to go to is the outer perimeter. So the outer perimeter of the property, you want to deny the criminal access to this outer perimeter. So fencing, physical aspects, right? But it comes in physical and virtual, right? Fencing, physical fencing, they see that's the way that goes. The virtual fencing is a set of webcams, and it covers all corners of the property. The thing that I like is I have neighbors that take care of me and my wife, and I like that. I like the fact that they're always looking out to see if there's something going on. I love nosy neighbors. I love them. I love them. I love them. They're better than any alarm system you could ever get because they call. I mean, they'll call me and say, hey, did you know your light is on in the garage? Hey, did you know this? No, I didn't. Thank you so much for doing that. I motivate them. I keep them, I do stuff for them. I do whatever needs to be done. They're better than an alarm system. And I keep my eye out on their property too. So it's a reciprocation type aspect, and neighbors, really good neighbors is what you want, right? Because that prevents a lot of burglaries. Webcams used to be expensive and hard to get. Hard to set up? Nah, no more. You can get a solar powered webcam for about $49, $49.50. Put it up there. I think that was when they were on sale. I think it's $70 other than that, but cut me a break. You put the solar cell up. You don't ever have to worry about a battery. You don't have to worry about power aspects. They can set it up. You can see them from California, and you can punch in your app and go from there. And cloud recording. Now let's talk about cloud recording. Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Sorry. I'm really sorry about coughing there. The word of caution is be careful about cloud aspects. And the story goes with Alibaba and the 40 Thieves is that Alibaba was a woodcutter, saw, when he was cutting wood, because that's what he does, he's a woodcutter, he cuts wood. There, he goes and he sees this cliff, and all of a sudden he sees a bunch of really, really hard-looking guys coming up in horses, and says, "Open sesame," and the cliff opens up. And all of a sudden they ride in, and then it's closed sesame, and then they come out, and he goes, geez, this is interesting. So he goes and he says, open sesame. Now, what am I trying to prove here? You don't want to share your passwords, right? We're going to get into that. But think of this as cloud computing. Boom, he opens it up. He sees all these jewels. So what does he do is he goes in and he steals the smallest jewels and the smallest piece of coin, whatever it is, so they won't miss it. This is exactly what a hacker does. A hacker will go in, hope that he or she is undetected, and mess with some files at a very, very, very low level. And what happens is then they get out of there and they monitor and they see if anybody just reconstitutes that file. Because if they did, that means that they took it as a file corrupt rather than somebody stealing data. So now you can go in and you can steal a little bit more, you can steal a little bit more. And that's why things like the OPM hack back a few years back, it wasn't detected for 6 months. Because, I mean, when you steal little things, nobody notices that. They just figure it's file corruption. So that's where the Alibaba and the 40 Thieves thing comes into play, and you got to really, really be careful about that. Cloud computing is you can do local recording, which is fine. I take a SanDisk and I put it in mine, and that's where I locally record, and it's fine. I can download it to my video files on my phone or wherever I want, and then I can erase the disk and put it back to 0. So I mean, I have pretty high-end disks in there, so it's 128 gigabytes to 400 gigabytes. So it's a good bit of information, and you got to be careful. One password, and all of a sudden you get access to a lot of different data when it comes to the cloud. So what's a normal amount of coverage that you want to have? Individual preference, but the bottom line is that if you have one in the front, one in the back, chances are you can do that. And of course, like I told you, I have neighbors. So neighbors, are on either side. So it's kind of nice to be able to have that. If you have a front doorbell camera, be wary. These things are very easily hacked. Ring just came out with a new model, and they made it less hackable. But in the old models of the Ring camera, all you need to do is take off one screw, and basically you have the innards, and you can completely recalibrate that to your cell phone. So all of a sudden, the hacker now has all your video coming from your Ring camera, or can in fact allow certain things. So you got to be really, really careful about that. Main thing is that you have a Wi-Fi. Every single device you have Wi-Fi on presents a vulnerability. So we'll do more on that. What are the devices outside that you must control? Well, how about your garage keypad, right? Your garage keypad, pretty important, right? It's located outside, usually on the frame of your garage, right or left frame. It has a 4-digit, normally, I think you can set it for more than that, but basically 4-digit control. It's easy to hack. And let me tell you, one situation is that there is an IR, infrared module that you can put on your phone. You put that on your phone, and if you point the phone at the keypad right after somebody presses in the code and walks away, you can actually find where their fingers hit that, because it's warmer on those numbers than any other numbers. So you have to be really careful about that. The way to counter that is after you press the numbers, just put your whole hand on all the keys. Don't press them. Just put them on there, and that'll warm them all up equally, and you won't have to worry about that. So that's just one counter to that. But the best thing to do is, a lot of people sit back and they go, "Oh, well, I can't." And I said, I moved mine. I moved my keypad is not on the frame of my garage, because I don't have a camera pointing there, so I can't tell if somebody's there or not. So now I have it in a hidden place. So my family knows where it is, but I don't know where. Well, I do know where it is. So what happened is that I moved it, and people said, "Oh, you can't move that because it's got wires in it." I said, "No, it's not. It's wireless. So you can actually take the screws out of the top and bottom. You can move it wherever you want, and preferably hidden somewhere." And then all of a sudden, somebody tries to get in there. They can't get into the garage through the keypad because the keypad's not there. So it's you make yourself unpredictable. This is your a link here. It says how to make a garage door more secure. There you go. It's right there. So what other things are outside? Fence gates. Simple. Lock them when you go on vacation, or lock them every night. Doesn't make a difference. Key holders. You can put key holders into play, and I wouldn't put all your keys in one key holder. I would have a key holder that opens up one thing, and then another key holder opens up another thing, and this way you have more than one. It's called multi-level authentication, right? Multi-factor authentication. Again, simple, right? Most key holders are put on doorknobs. So attached to something that they will have to get undone. I have mine on a piece of steel. They have to literally get a welder or something to either take the lock off or to take the piece of steel off. It's too much trouble for them. They're not going to do that. So, but most key holders are put on doorknobs. They're hard to detach, but there's a hack to get them undone. So, that's a basic issue, right? I'm not going to tell you what the hack is. Make any attempt to enter the house is a multifaceted, multi-phased approach. That's what you should have. You should never allow them just to get in, boom, and they're done, right? What this means is it will be harder to enter the house. They're going to move on. Car, lock your car. Simple, right? If you can, put your car in a garage. If you can't, put it somewhere well lit. I mean, this is basic stuff here. Also, light works the same for criminals as vampires, right? They both hate it, so they're not gonna get near some place where there's a lot of light. Car alarms do not work. I'm going to tell you this right now. All they do is go off. Boom, 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 boom. People think more of them as a nuisance than they do as a deterrent. So there's your car alarm. Buddy of mine just had his car broken into, and the car alarm went off. It went off, once, twice. It never heard it. So you have to be careful. Make sure you have the VIN number copied. Put the VIN number someplace where you know where it is. Usually it's on the title, but make sure you know where it is. Keep your key in a safe place. Do not expose your key. There is a device out there right now that hackers use, and it's big. It's a little bit large at this point, but I'm going to sure it's going to get smaller. But they have it in their satchel. If they get within 3 feet of you, they can actually clone your key. So then you go to the next shop or whatever it is, and all of a sudden now they have access to your car. So you have to be really, really careful about that. So you have to, make sure that you have your key someplace, and make sure you're aware of your environment. Make sure you're aware, what the environment is where you are. So if somebody's on a satchel and they're looking down while you're getting into your car, you want to be able to, be able to identify that individual. Look at them, make them know that you can identify them. What about interior protection? Interior house, great way of crime prevention, right? Alarms, another method. So alarms can be local or cloud protection. Remember the cloud thing, right? So local means you'll be notified if there are any detection. Global means that law enforcement is called automatically. If they're called automatically, and if it is a false alarm, some law enforcement offices are starting to cite those homeowners because it's taking already. They're down on people, and then they have to hurry up and get to this place because they think it's being robbed, and it's not being robbed. So you have to be really, really careful about that. If there are any detections and you are local, just ensure that somebody can get into the house, and make sure that your cameras are operating so that you can tell them, look, there's somebody in the house at this point in time. Just call 911 and let them know that something's happening. So it's a great way of confirming whatever is going on. Cautions about interior cameras. If I told you I had a microphone inside your home and it could hear you talking, how would you feel about that? Microphones are part of the interior camera protection. In most instances, right, turning the microphone off does not necessarily mean it is off. So some companies that produce devices have mics on all the time. So you don't believe me on that? Look at the link at the bottom. You go to the link at the bottom and it will tell you, your smartphone and mobile device may be recording everything you say. So how can you prevent listening? Turn the microphone off on your cameras. Turn them on when you leave on vacation. That's all. Don't even plug in your cameras until you live on vacation, right? So all of a sudden your cameras will be on and you won't be there, to talk, smack about whatever, some football team that you don't like, whatever else. Put the webcam devices where the intruder would not look first, right? Behind a plant, by a lamp, right? Or in the corner of the floor. Someplace the eye would not look first. If I'm in a room and I look for a camera, what do? You look up. It's almost like automatic. You look up. So if you don't have them high, if you don't have the cameras high, all of a sudden they think there's no cameras there, but there are. They're down low. They're down lower, or they're mid area. The intruder should only have about 10 seconds to look for something. At that point in time, they should be able to get caught by the webcam. So make sure that you have the detection features so it records automatically on detection. And that's what it is. So now we're inside. How about those smart devices, right? How many do you really need, right? Are they giving you some relief, or are they just an annoyance? Okay, there's an association between convenience and vulnerability or intrusions, right? As convenience increase, risks also increase. Vulnerability also increase, right? One researcher said, quote, "Convenience and empowerment always seem a win for most people, even at some loss of privacy, control, or transparency," right? This is Pew Research. So what this means is that the easier you think you make things, the more that you cannot control those things. So now you have a problem, right? Now, so moving on to cyber, and we've kind of hit cyber anyways when we talk about physical security. Cyber is part of the overall physical security, but is also a separate component in that physical security. If you do not have a router, you don't have a smart device. If you don't have the internet, you don't have a smart device. Protecting your cyber will help protect your physical security and your family. With every device that you include in your network, there comes a risk. There's a risk of deceiving that device, and then there's a risk of denying your entire network. And that's what basically what it's called denial, right? Denial service. So you just like, boom, you just denial network service. So you're done. You don't have any access to anything in the network. If they can't deceive you, they're going to deny you. So what we will discuss are ways to prevent that intrusion, right? Through your network. The best way to understand the interaction of the internet is a formula. N times n minus 1 over 2. It's a binomial formula. It's a statistical aspect. But basically it says here, the links per number of people. So if you have 2 people, basically you have 1 link. Just put 2 in n, 2 times, right? 2 times 2 minus 1 is 2, over 2 it's 1. So there's 1 link between those 2 people. Now, increase that by 1 person, you increase the link to 2 links. You increase it by 3 people to 5 total people, you've increased it now to 10 links. There are over 4 billion people on the internet. 4 billion. Actually, it's more than that, probably more like 5. That translates with 4 billion to a quintillion links, 10 to the 18th links. Hundreds of thousands of light years if you were to put it in light year form. So that's a buffet which the hackers go for dinner. From which the hackers go, they love going to dinner at a buffet where they have 10 to the 18th links to look at. So I wanted to just make sure you understood that. So the heart of your system is your local network. Those that are leased routers, right, are dependent upon your internet service provider, your ISP, service, maintenance, all those things. Now, the problem is, although advantageous, right, from convenience, because again, we talk about convenience, your ISP knows your user ID and password, your ISP can access your network. So we want to be able to trust our ISP, but there are people out there that may get a 2-week notice and all of a sudden decide that they're going to go hacking into networks. So you prevent this by telling your ISP that you want to either set up your user ID and your password and you don't want them to know it. That's number 1. But also get your own router and set it up. If you set it up, it's your network, not theirs. So now, you can do that. And it's really pretty simple. If you get a router, people say, I can't get my router because they won't allow it. Yes, they will. Get your router, call the ISP up, internet service provider, and they'll say, I want my own router. They'll say, give us the MAC address, give them the MAC address, and then they'll add it to their allowable network devices. And that's all it is. Also, reboot your router daily. Prevents malware. There's a malware out there that those people that don't reboot it. So reboot daily. All you do is turn off, wait 10 seconds, turn it back on again. I have mine on a timer, and the timer goes off at a certain time. A minute later, it turns back on. I do it early in the morning. What about devices on your network? Easiest way to control your devices: set up a guest network. When your router, when you have it, you can set up a guest network, and that guest network allows people to get on your network, but they can't get into your main network. So they're allowed to get on the internet, but they're not going to be allowed to get to see what you see from the standpoint of network aspects. It's called a guest network. It's available on any router you buy. Drives my kids nuts, but that's tough. However, so this is great for family members, get on the internet. It also allows them to get on without interfering that. So let's talk about passwords for a second here. Passwords are still here. They're going to be here forever. They were supposed to go with biometrics. That doesn't happen. Face recognition. Nope, still here. And they're still misunderstood. Passwords take the form of complexity without recognition, right? But in reality, you can make them just as strong, and you can make them easy to remember. Take a color, add 2 shapes or objects, 2 numbers, and boom. And make sure that they don't have to mean anything to you. You can make a story up about them. Make it something you can remember, like the orange horse ate buttons 3 times, right? That password is just as strong as a complex password. You don't believe me? Boom, here we are. This is Bitwarden. Here is a password strength with purple square triangle 3 exclamation mark, right? Estimated time, 15 years to crack. Password strength, OIHSTCOT 13. This takes 4 months to crack. Why? Because this is longer. It's a longer password, number 1, and also these don't have anything to do with one another. So that's the portion. Now, what about the one I just said? Orange horse buttons 3. Password strength is strong. It takes 4 years to crack it. So I mean, it's that type of thing, and people don't understand how easy it is. And what about biometrics? Face recognition may be good, although you can put up a photograph and boom, it comes in. They're trying to do 3D now. Can use picture full recognition and finger recognition may be good. Look up gummy bears. That could be a problem. Voice recognition may be good. Try it when you have a cold. All of a sudden, it doesn't recognize your voice. Multi-factor authentication, something you have, which is your cell phone, something you know, password, something you are, biometrics. Remember, cell phone is rooted to you, not to an address like the old black phones, with a dial. How about keeping safe online? Main danger of online is succumbing to the big three: fear, greed, hope, right? Fear example, IRS is coming for you, send your ID and password. Greed, you just want a new iPad, send your ID and password. Hope, you've just been selected for a job, send your ID and password. In all three examples, a hacker evokes an emotion to get the job done. In all three examples, it's easy to check whether these are real or not. Think about it this way. If somebody came to your door with these three situations, what would you do? You'd kick them out. Get out of here. The same way you protect your home should reflect your online behavior. And that's really, really the simple part of it. Go to the right domain. Several types of domains: com, org, edu, gov, just a few, right? Edu and gov are domains the organization has to apply for. They have to meet certain qualifications to be able to make that work, right? Do not go to what you think is the right domain. Be certain. Example, irs.com is not irs.gov. They will charge you for items you can get for free on IRS. Same with ssa.com for Social Security. It's ssa.gov, not ssa.com, right? Ensure that you go to the proper domain and website before you submit any information, especially personal information. Something simple can lead to a world of hurt, and so think before you do, right? What about your family? That we're there now. You should never reveal the essential three online: birth date, Social Security, and mother's maiden name. No commercial website can demand your real mother's maiden name or real birthday. Everyone sits there on Facebook and they go, well, yeah, you have to have your real birthday to get on Facebook. No, you do not. You do not need that. It's for verification uses only. So whatever birthday you put in there, you better remember it, because that's the verification they use when they're trying to get, you're trying to get back on your account. So just remember what you put down, or put it down somewhere, or just remember it. And the way, January 1st is a great universal month to remember. January 1st, boom, that's my birth month and day. Just make sure it's not your real birth month and day, right? And then the year, depending on that, just don't make the year 1912, or 1920 or something like that. All of a sudden people go, you're 100 years old. So that's, you got to make it reasonable, right, folks? Remember, if you put your real birthday as month, day, and age, you've given your real birth year. A lot of people told me that, so it really is interesting. So let's talk about this just for a second. Can you be fooled? Can you be fooled by an email that, let's say, is fake or spam or whatever you want to call it? Because they're getting pretty good, but you can still detect when they are fake and when they are not. Let me give you an example. Here's one that was done a while back, but it's, your account has been restricted. It was sent to me, service@paypal.com, but look at where the actual from was: info@monex.com. Now, this is kind of nice because my email actually brings up where it is from originally. Otherwise, you'd have to take this, and if you click on this area right here where it says service@paypal.com, if you click on that and then click on it again, you click on it once and click on it again, you'll see the actual where it came from. And so it's not PayPal. But look at what else is here, right? Why is your account restricted? Found suspicious activity. To make account activity, please provide documents confirming your identity. Well, PayPal wouldn't ask you to do that. We also impose temporary limits on certain features. At this time, you will not be able to receive payments, send payment, withdraw funds. So this is where this is another problem with fake emails. They just don't look good. Although PayPal's, there's the PayPal logo. Here's help and contact security application. Here's all this stuff, right? Review your account and contact you regarding its status within 5 business days. So it's really hilarious how it's a fear thing, right? Oh my gosh, somebody hacked into your account. Well, they're going to hack into your account if the situation exists, right? So you got to be really careful. So that's why you just don't want to do that. The thing I wanted to go, and this is Frank Abnali. Now, Frank Abnali was he basically did a lot of different things from the standpoint of just areas that he was interestingly he was a con man. He was a confidence man. This is what he did. And he fooled everyone. He was a doctor, he was a teacher, airline pilot, different things. AARP hired him as a consultant. Now, why AARP would hire a known confidence man is beyond me. So it was interesting how that all works. But the thing is, the quote that he says, what I did in my youth is 100 times easier today. Technology breeds crime, which is absolutely true. Technology enables crime. It's they don't even have to see you anymore. They don't have to commit the crime against you face to face. They can literally just do it over the air. So that's the situation, and that's why it's so important. So as a side note, there are companies out there that want you to give them information so they can protect your information. I never quite understood that logic, is that you give me your social security number, your birthday, mother's maiden name, all that stuff, and we'll protect that. So what you're doing is you're making yourself vulnerable to prevent vulnerability. You see where that's illogical? The best thing to do is just put in some of these areas where I've already talked about, and understand that there are ways that you can prevent yourself from being scammed. And it's just good old-fashioned common sense. If you do that the same way you lock your doors at your house, or lock your doors in your car, there's just good common sense for being safe online. So just be careful about people like this guy, who basically is a con man. And to me, maybe some people can be reformed, but when you learn how to lie and you learn how to take the confidence, you learn how to be confidence builder in order to con people. That's a trait that I would not want to have. So in summary, let's talk about all the different things we talked about. Covered how to keep your property safe, physical means, fences, cameras, observational means, environmental awareness, that type of thing. Covered how to keep your cyber safe, password protection, settings for privacy, using proven scam prevention methods, right? Even showed you an email that you just check this stuff before you start giving out user IDs and passwords. Places to seek help: Federal Trade Commission, FTC.gov. Remember, Toes, we talked about domains. FBI.gov and DOJ.gov. On their websites, they have places where you can report different scams, spams, those types of things. Most phone apps, emails and such will allow you to report spam or emails. So you see something that's suspicious, report it. They keep it in a good database, and they understand those things. It helps them to be able to prevent that. And that pretty much does it. And I wanted to make this as quick as possible. It's usually an hour brief. I wanted to cut it down, so that's why I was speaking so fast. And the bottom line is to get everybody as safe as possible, and that's pretty doggone important. And that, the learn, offer, value, educate is something that's really important from the standpoint of sharing. And that's what I want to do. I want to share these situations with you so you're better prepared and you understand how to keep yourself safe, especially in this very, very, very social environment that we have right now. So until next time, this is Chris Greco saying, thank you so much for watching, and always lead with love. Learn, offer, value, and educate. Lead with love.